Joining us right now is a Disney analyst who co-wrote that Hulu note, Jason Bazinet, managing director at Citigroup. And, Jason, this has played out pretty publicly. You've got Bob Iger making statements about what he will and won't do. A lot of people speculating about what happens with Hulu come January. But this was maybe one of the more interesting proposals. You're saying swap the rest of the 67% of Hulu for two superheroes? Where'd you come up with that?
Well, I'm just listening to Mr. Iger, right? He said that everything is on the table as it relates to Hulu, and he wants to lean into his big brands. Certainly, the value of securing the distribution rights for those two Marvel characters is quite small relative to the value of Hulu. But our point was, look, if everything is on the table and you're negotiating and moving assets back and forth, this would be an opportune time to resecure those distribution rights.
Do you think Disney ultimately would like to own Hulu? Do you think Comcast would ultimately like to own Hulu? Or did this just get a lot less valuable from both sides taking a step back?
Well, I don't know. I mean, candidly, I was very surprised at Mr. Iger's comments on the last earnings call. Our view is that what Disney should do is retain Hulu, get to 100%, very gradually lean into the streaming opportunity. My fear is that everyone is potentially moving their strategy to respond to the way the winds are blowing on Wall Street. And the way the winds are blowing right now is rates rise as people want profits. They're unwilling to endure losses. And that's fine. But I think other companies have shown streaming can be a very profitable business if you gradually get into the business. So I look at the losses and say that's a function of these companies trying to enter the business and get scale very quickly. It is not a function of the business necessarily being a bad business. So if I had my preference, Disney would own 100% of Hulu. But I'm just keen off of what Mr. Iger seems to be saying and what he's open to. And that certainly raises the possibility that he sells Hulu.
But do you think he's just negotiating, trying to talk things down?
Well, no, look, I mean, the put call agreement that comes in January 2024 goes to a third party for the appraised rights with a floor value. So I'm not sure what benefit there is to talking up or down an asset if the asset itself is going to a third party to appraise the value and if there's a predetermined floor value. So I'm taking Mr. Iger at his face value that literally he has, I think, rethought the value of what he calls undifferentiated content, which is Hulu.
And Jason, very quickly, would you give a higher rating to Comcast if they got that asset? Would you give a higher rating to Disney if they retained it?
Well, I don't cover Comcast, but I would say for Disney, I just think it's a near-term versus long-term issue, right? If they end up selling Hulu at the ranges that we outlined, I think there would be a near-term lift in the stock because I think they're going to get a decent amount of money. And right now, at this particular moment, the street doesn't want to endure losses. If you ask me in the long run, I would say that Disney might potentially cap the upside of the ultimate value they can
Jason,
create.
real quick, in terms of how you sell it, there's two ways to do it. One is to sell it with the content fully, meaning FX. So much of the Fox deal goes with it. It's all one piece. The other is sort of the shell version. You effectively sell Hulu a distribution platform, perhaps with a several-year licensing agreement to keep some of the content on it, which would make it at least valuable for the transition period. But after that, that content then goes back onto Disney Plus, for example. Which way do you do it?
Well, I think the thing that I would want to keep is the production assets. I think that's the most valuable part, and I suspect Disney will retain those production assets. Doesn't necessarily mean that there couldn't be an output deal for those production assets that goes with a Hulu sale, where there's sort of long-term visibility on the part of Disney that would retain the production assets and have a home for those on Hulu.